Baseball in the Boroughs is presented by Verizon. Verizon is going ultra, so you can too. When the Yankees and Mets met for round one of the Subway Series, the Yanks had the best record in baseball and were the talk of New York. But oh, how things can change in 4 weeks. Buck Showalter and crew head into Yankee Stadium tonight after winning 4 of the last 6, and they're going to kick off round 2. New York Post Dan Martin is here, so let's hype this series up. It's the battle for New York, round 2. Dan, let's get into it. The Yankees offense has gone ice cold over the last 2 weeks, and now they face the Heat going up against Mad Max Scherzer, deGrom, and the Mets pitching staff this series. Which team has the edge?
Well, Brandon, I mean, at this point, you got to look at the Mets having the edge there. Nobody's better than Scherzer and deGrom, especially in big spots. The bullpen's pitching pretty well in Queens. And look, the Yankees, they're coming off I don't know if it's a big win, but it's certainly a much-needed win on Sunday in the Bronx. But they still didn't hit that well. As you said, the bats have been ice cold. They just can't find any consistent offense. So I think when you look at it, 2 of the best pitchers and starters in Major League Baseball is Scherzer and deGrom going back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday. You give them an edge almost against anyone, and certainly against a Yankee lineup that is scuffling from top to bottom right now.
You could have just said self-explanatory answer right there, Brandon. But, you know, I had to ask. All right, so let's flip it. Let's go. The Mets bats against the Yankees pitching staff. Who has the upper hand in this matchup?
You know, the Yankees rotation isn't lined up quite as well as the Mets. They've got Herman and Frankie Montas going. Herman has actually pitched pretty well since they traded Jordan Montgomery. Montgomery's been great in St. Louis, but Domingo Herman has been fine taking his spot in the rotation. We'll see against, in a big spot against a good lineup like the Mets, how he fares. And Frankie Montas has been a disappointment since coming to the Yankees. He's struggled. He hasn't found his way. He's been coming back from a shoulder injury. So they're hoping for better things from him down the stretch, and that they hope starts on Tuesday night against the Mets. The Yankees bullpen is also, not as good as it was the last time they met. They're dealing with guys like Michael King out for the year and Chad Green out for the year. Also, the guys that stepped up in their absence haven't been as good lately.
All right, SNY Studios is close to the New York Stock Exchange, so let's talk about these teams like their stock. They're both trending. The Mets in the right direction, the Yankees in the wrong direction. Who faces more pressure going into this series?
I think the Yankees always face more pressure in this series. If the Yankees win, they're supposed to win. If the Mets lose, they're the second best team in the city. But this is a little different. If the Mets are ever going to win 2 in a row against the Yankees, it's like we said, with Scherzer and deGrom lined up, playing against a Yankee team that has not played well for, frankly, 4 or 5 or even 6 weeks. So the pressure is really on both teams. But in reality, if the Mets don't win these 2 games, they're still in great shape. The Yankees have just been scuffling for so long. If they get swept, by the Mets in the Bronx, it's just going to be a really bad situation, especially with them heading out on the West Coast later this week. Look, the Yankees still have an 8-game lead in the AL East, still a formidable lead. They're fine in that respect, but they really have to get their act together before it's too late and they're going into the playoffs in the wrong direction.
All right, Dan Martin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon.
Baseball in the Boroughs is presented by Verizon. Verizon is going ultra, so you can too.